So,
do we want to talk about your game that you think's game of the year?
I guess I should get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, Outer Wilds is my second favorite game of the year, and when I played it, I was like, this might be the best game I've ever fucking played.
Yes, Outer Wilds is my favorite game of the year.
So we'll talk about that after I get this out of the way.
Okay.
But after I played Outer Wilds, after Disco Elysium, I saw there's a streamer that I watch who said, I'm going to play Disco Elysium, blah blah blah. I looked at the comments, and then someone said, you should check out Pathologic 2 if you like Disco Elysium. And then the devs of Disco Elysium liked that tweet. So I was like, okay, I should probably check this out. Went and checked it out. Bought the game, didn't play it for a while. Then loads of video essays about it came out around the same time for some reason. So I was like, okay, I'll watch one of these since I bought the game. Got like half an hour into the video, I was like, okay, this is the most interesting thing I've ever fucking heard of. Have to play this right now. Went straight into it. Pathologic 2 is the best game I've ever played. Maybe, possibly.
Really?
So let me preface this. Pathologic 2 is a remake of Pathologic 1, in the sense that Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead 1. So Pathologic 1 came out, and it's got 3 separate characters that you can play as. And in this game so far, there's only got 1 character. So it's not a complete game yet. So that's why I wouldn't say it's the best game ever, just because it's technically not finished yet. But essentially, it's about... since no one's heard of this, I do have to explain what it's about. But you play as a surgeon who who's called back to his hometown by his dad because something bad's going to happen.
Yes.
And something bad things happen immediately. And your dad is dead. You've been stabbed. You've killed 3 people. People suspect you of murdering your dad, even though you just arrived there. The entire town hates you. Also, there's a disease coming that is going to kill literally everyone. So it's a grim as fuck game.
So I'll preface where I got exactly to is I got through the weird, bizarre opening, which is very Dark Souls in its aloofness. Then I went into the town after I killed the people. Everyone hated me. I was getting a bit tired because of the rain. I couldn't find where to save. I walked a little bit, and some guy hated me so much he beat me to death, nearly.
Yes.
And then I woke up in a place and saved.
Yeah. So the important thing is that that's just the story. Like, that's a story within a story, because the entire story is set up as a stage play from the very start. And basically, in the original game, I haven't played it, but now that I've watched fucking tons of videos on it, I know all about it. But essentially, in the first game, you don't pick up on things until you play all 3 characters, and it sort of evolves into a meta thing. Whereas since there's only 1 character here, they've sort of condensed it a bit into the single character, so you get a more full experience of the story just from playing this 1 guy rather than all 3. So there's so much to talk about with this game, but essentially it's a survival game where you've got to manage hunger, thirst, exhaustion, and infection to the plague, and immunity from the plague. And the way that it integrates these into the story is the best integration of gameplay and story that I've ever seen in a video game. In that it's about questioning what you're doing by playing a video game. Like, what you're doing by choosing to pick the role of a protagonist and go into a fucked up situation. Because, like, normally when you go into a game, it's like, oh, everything will be set out for me, everyone will help me out, and I'll get to the goal because that's the way the game's designed. Here, every single mechanic is working against your goals as a protagonist. It's like, can you afford to give medicine to someone if you need to fucking spend time looting to get food so you don't fucking starve to death? And fucking genius. So, okay.
So you have to be bad to be save everyone.
And it's like, that sounds very simple, but it's like, no, it's it's. I can't stress how genius this game is, and I can't really get into it without, you know, fucking dedicating the entire podcast to it. Yeah. But it justifies the entire medium as a storytelling device, like method, I guess.
Okay.
Like, it's quite literally a thesis statement on why video games can provide an experience that other mediums of storytelling can't. And in addition to that, the story itself within, like, you know, that stuff comes from the stage play. So it's like, I have to think of this as a structure. But the actual story it's telling is so fascinating, and the world is so fascinating, and the characters. Basically, this game only appeals to pretentious art wankers like me. But if you are a pretentious art wanker, then this will be the best game you will ever play.
Okay.
I say that with confidence. I can't recommend it enough if you're into interesting experiences that will challenge you and alienate you and somehow draw you in at the same time.
I mean, I've played a lot of depressing games and done a lot of depressing things this year, so this sounds like it will be the icing on the cake that may shoot me in the head.
Kind of. It's... Oh, man.
I will just play some more of it. I will.
Yeah. It's the best written game I've ever played, for sure. Which, you know, I already said Disco Elysium was one of them. I would have said that was until I played this.
Yeah.
But the fact that this game came out of fucking nowhere for me is crazy. I'm still reeling from it.
We were certain Outer Wilds would be Game of the Year. After all of this amazing stuff that's come out, we were certain that's it. Like November, we've decided that's it.
Yeah.
And then you get Pathologic 2 and you're like, I can't believe another game has come out of nowhere and swept me off my feet.
Yeah, like I've not been this bowled over by a game since Outer Wilds.
And you've not been so bowled over by a game like Outer Wilds since Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
What an amazing year this has been.
Great year for games, bad for everything else.
Yes, I agree.
But let's not get into that.
No. Okay, let's finish it off and talk about...
Pathologic 2 Game of the Year for me, obviously.
Okay. Let's talk about my Game of the Year then, which is Outer Wilds.
Yeah, that was my Game of the Year before I played Pathologic 2. And
I hope my game doesn't change as well if I play Pathologic 2.
Still one of the best games I've ever played, Outer Wilds. Really.
It's so perfect in that it's... I think it's best to go into this game blind.
As blind as
humanly possible, which I was.
Completely blind.
I didn't even know what type of game it was. I spent the first 10 minutes or 20 minutes putting marshmallows in the fire because I didn't understand how the controls worked because I'm an idiot. But after that, it's like, I get it. I understand how this game works.
There's a click moment.
And then you explore some of the best environments ever. It
was creative.
Yes, the controls and mechanics respect your intelligence and are utilised in so many clever ways. And it's all based in some sort of like science reality. It's so beautiful. The music is so moving. The story is so moving. And it essentially is Groundhog Day, where you explore ruins from space. And there's no combat, and it's just you reading text and figuring things out. And it makes you feel... I was sort of like, oh, I mean, it's good, but I just feel like I'm not getting it. And then you're like, no, keep pushing on, keep pushing on. And then I learned one thing, and then went and did something, and I went, oh my god, I cannot believe how incredible that is. Because you don't gain any abilities, you gain knowledge.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It consistently makes you look at the game in a different way. And then it's so good.
The story is the gameplay.
Yes.
And you can't really say that about any other game.
No.
Really.
I can't. I don't even want to go into details on anything. But I mean, Matt is going through the exact same thing, and he was like, I don't get it. I'm not a fan. Whatever. And then I think he had the click moment. He went, actually, I get it now. I'm starting to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, here's a direct quote from him. I might have a go at this game again. I was loving that bitch.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, it seems so wide in scope, like you have an entire solar system to explore, and it feels like you have an entire solar system
it really
to explore.
does.
And yet it's so focused. Like, there's something to do at all times, and the way it breadcrumbs you from one place to another, and how everything fits together, and everything makes perfect sense.
Yes, and
it's like the concept itself is so brilliantly explained.
Yes,
and it's just perfect.
Oh my god.
We can't really say anything.
No,
specific.
Can't. But when I read the log after I'd explored most of the places, everything fell into place. I understood the story in its entirety. I understood exactly what I needed to do. I felt like I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. And then it becomes linear right at the end. But the way it does that, it feels so you feel like you're just being thrown into something and you have no control at all, and then it's so wonderful and lovely at the end, even though it has this great big concept of how finite we are in the universe and how inevitable everything is, but it still has that beauty in finality.
Yeah.
And oh my god, goodness me. I can't when that theme comes in at the end, I felt like I was going to weep everywhere.
Yeah. I can't believe this isn't my game of the year.
Yes.
It's insane
I can't
to me.
believe it isn't. That's how good
it's insane to me how good Outer Wilds... honestly, I would recommend Outer Wilds over Pathologic 2 because, as I said, Pathologic 2 is mainly good for pretentious people like me.
Mm-hmm.
But Outer Wilds, I feel like you can't not be touched by it.
No,
honestly,
I agree.
If you have the intelligence to connect everything together, then there's no way this won't be an incredibly powerful experience for you.
100%. It's life affirming, is how I put it.
Yeah, it's a shame it's a bit buggy, apparently.
Oh, really? I never.
Well, as Matt discovered with his fucking save getting corrupted.
Oh, that sucks. But he is playing in console though.
Yeah, I also did encounter one. No, it crashed twice for me. Which sucks, but luckily you don't lose. You literally lose no progress.
No, that's a great thing about this game. In that
it's so amazingly designed that everything you can do everything as soon as you boot up the game. You can complete the game in one cycle.
In about 7 minutes.
Yeah, but it hides everything away from you, and that's where, as we said, the story and the gameplay become intermixed so well. Because as you learn the story, you learn the gameplay.
Yes, it's oh my god.
That's his biggest achievement, I think.
When I realised that what I thought were quite throwaway gameplay mechanics became very integral parts of how you navigate very interesting parts of the world.
Yeah, like the probe is the main thing.
I thought, oh, whatever, throw it away. And then it's got so many different uses that I didn't even consider. It's wonderful. Let's just put it this way. So, Bug Fables easily slots into my top 20. Disco Elysium nearly makes my top 10. Outer Wilds is in my top 10. That's how good this year has been.
Yeah. Similar for me, Pathologic 2 might actually be, if they finish it, which you should buy the game because I don't think it's sold very well and they're not a big developer.
Okay.
But if Pathologic 2 gets finished and they do the other two characters, then that would be unquestionably my favourite game ever, as long as I don't botch it somehow.
Okay.
Outer Wilds is one of the best games I've ever played. That's up there as well. Disco Elysium is one of the best games I've ever played. I haven't finished it yet, but it's up there. Devil May Cry 5 is the best action game I've ever played. Fucking shit, man.
Fire Emblem 3 is probably the best Fire Emblem game I've ever played.
Yeah, so it's well worth at least one playthrough.
So there's 5 games there, not even including Resident Evil 2, which are
not including that.
Which is some
not including Sekiro, a From Software game.
Oh my goodness! And that is literally a plethora of some of the best games you'll ever play.
Yeah, all came out this year.
What a year!
What a year!
It's what And what do we have to look forward to next year? Breath of the Wild 2 and Doom 2 Eternal and
Resi 3
and Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Oh, you couldn't scarcely imagine.
You couldn't possibly imagine. Broken, shattered by someone or something.
That cinematic trailer still gets me hard because of just how like that line is delivered.
Elden Ring.
So excited. I'm very excited for it. But but then again, I hope that something comes out of nowhere next year and knocks the wind out of me again.
Hopefully we'll get The Bachelor added to Pathologic 2 next year. Hopefully. I hope. I really hope they finish the game. Not that it's an incomplete experience, but yeah, everyone play Outer Wilds. Everyone play Disco Elysium. If you like to talk about how video games are art and can provide unique story experiences that other mediums can't, then play Pathologic 2 as well.
I like the faces in Pathologic 2. They really make me laugh. Where you talk to someone and they go...
It's like super zoomed in.
Yeah, it really made me laugh. Yeah, what a game. Also, I think we've got like a new game by the Stardew Valley people coming out next year. We've also got Darkest Dungeon 2, which they apparently they've said they've completely revamped the minute-to-minute combat and gameplay.
Interesting.
I think we've also got another big game that I'm forgetting. I can't remember. Maybe Metroid. I think maybe Metroid 4. Maybe if they've done enough development on it. But
Resi 3, as I said. Yeah, I don't know what else. It's all coming out in like March.
Oh, Animal Crossing. Well. That would be great. Yeah.
It's literally all coming out in March, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 3 games coming out in March.
Mad. Wow.
There is something else that we're missing, but you know, it'll be the indie games once again that will steal the show.
Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
They'll put
rollback.
They'll put fucking Doom Guy into Smash Bros. And everybody will be like, okay, bye.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. Hopefully Pikmin 4 will come out. That'd be nice. Wink, wink. Nah. Making a video. Wink, wink.
It'll never come out.
No, it won't. Well, apparently it's like it is nearly done, but they pretty much yeeted all the development staff to other projects because they're more important.
I thought it literally was done, and Miyamoto's got it in like his...
It's like 93% done, apparently.
All right, weird.
Yeah, and I checked to see if it was cancelled or anything, and it's definitely they confirmed it wasn't Hey Pikmin, you know, all that nonsense. So I don't know. Okay, so the first game that I forgot to mention in the podcast, which is a re-recorded line that I'm inserting very deftly in with clearly better audio for Otis, is a game I'd like to call Untitled Goose Game. I ended up hating the game because of the people who liked the game. It became such a meme that the general consensus was, oh wow, what a funny game, look, funny goose, ha 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 ha, he's such a funny goose, that like, I don't believe the game deserves the, I don't know, the fervour that it got. The actual mechanics of the game are quite simple. You pick up and do thing, you pick up and put down thing and honk, that is it, there's nothing else. Once you do the first chapter, you understand everything the game has to offer, and it never changes throughout the entire game. The only thing it does have in its favour is a nice art style, and it adds small goodies that are quite interesting, like you honk into a radio, it goes over to the other radio. But the problem is the puzzles are the same, and so it's a complete slog to play through, considering it's 2 hours fucking long. It felt like 10 hours long. And it's an annoying shit meme, so don't play that game. The next game I played...
Masterpiece. What a piece of shit. What a pizza shit.
The next game I'm going to talk about is a game called Blasphemous. It was a little indie game that was put onto the Switch earlier this year. And it had the moniker was like even darker Dark Souls, but it's like a 2D platformer. So I was like, okay, sure, whatever. It's not good. It's not good. The controls are very janky and weird, and they don't work well. I don't understand how a lot of the upgrade systems worked, even halfway into the game. I felt like I missed very simple areas. The bosses are neat looking, like the whole design is like Spanish Catholicism and like guilt and stuff, but it tried so hard to be Dark Souls whilst failing with really annoying backtracking, annoying puzzles. I've forgotten a lot about the game, if I'm honest, which is not fun. A lot of the annoyances come from it trying to emulate 3D Dark Souls style combat in 2D, whilst also wanting to be a little bit like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I found like it asks for like loads of spells and like it gives you loads of options. Like, oh, you can equip these spells and these things that will help you and blah 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 blah. But none of them are ever worthwhile. None of the spells are ever worthwhile. It just feels like an annoyance to play, if I'm honest. And I wouldn't recommend it. Also, I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting that I didn't like about the game. But if I'm honest, it's quite forgettable and quite bland.
You're so right and sexy.
The last game I want to talk about, I promise, is Luigi's Mansion 3. I can't believe I forgot all of these games. I'm such a dingus. This game was dreadful, awful, piece of shit, awful. It completely missed the point of the first game. It completely didn't understand what made it so great. And it's clear it wasn't a Nintendo developed game. It's clear that Next Level Games were the developers behind it. And they should stick to making Mario Strikers Charged. Because this game was dreadful. It was, I think, 20 hours long. Which, when you don't mix up the mechanics from literally the first second, it becomes a right piece of shit. It has unnecessary backtracking in the game, which I thought we got rid of in the late 2000s. It has controls that I can only describe as unwieldy and awful. I learned after I beat the game that there are 2 buttons on the shoulder pads that you can use to use some of the moves. So, okay, let me put it this way. You have in normal Luigi's Mansion, you have the light, what's it called? The torch on automatically. And then that scares the ghosts. You press the R button, you suck the ghost. Ding dang dong. Great, great. It's all perfect. And you can also press the other shoulder button to blow if you have specific upgrades that let you shoot things. Perfect. Nothing more. I didn't play Dark Moon, but in this game there is a dark light for your flashlight, a strobe, which is sort of like a big burst of light, and you also have a plunger to grab hold of things and swing them. Now, they make it so that I thought yet they made it so that you had to use 2 face buttons at the same time, which means you have to use the controller like a claw whilst also sucking with one of the other fingers. Turns out you can use the plunger and the dark light, I believe, on the 2 shoulder buttons, which makes it slightly easier. But it also doesn't change the fact that because of this, it makes Luigi sort of strafe instead of spinning on his axis. So in order to get ghosts that are higher than you, you have to use motion controls, or sometimes you have to sort of strafe and then not strafe so you can turn around and get the ghost. It feels really completely just stupid. And the fact that they made it so that your flashlight isn't always working, isn't always on, and you have to hold down the button to shoot it to stop the ghosts, is just, I don't know, adds just another layer of frustration. It's like, okay, I have to do this extra step to what I already could do easier in the first game. It does away with the fact that the whole mansion's interconnected. It makes it levels, which can lead to some interesting areas. Like there's an area with a movie director and he makes you into Godzilla. There's also a garden where you can suck up a chainsaw, and like a pirates and Egyptian themed and stuff. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but because they're split into levels, it's so inconsequential and it's so it just doesn't feel interconnected or woven like a real hotel. It feels very bog standard, and you know how to expect the structure of the levels, and they wildly vary in length. So some floors are literally, I'd say, 10 minutes long, and the others could be 2.5 hours. And you have to backtrack between the floors. Sometimes you have to go back and get there's an upgrade, great. And then you go get the upgrade, and it's actually just used for one area, so it might as well be a key. I really feel like they missed the trick on spreading out the upgrades throughout the floors, because then it feels like you have meaningful progression, but you don't. You get it all right at the start. And cool, there's some like neat ways of using those mechanics, but unfortunately it gets very tiresome after the 4th floor. It gets very tiresome, and it's not very good. It's not very. The music and the atmosphere is also taking a massive hit. The music isn't. In the first game, I loved how the music was Luigi whistling, or him nervously humming to get over the fear, and everything was dark when there was ghosts haunting it. It was very bright and colourful when it was free of hauntings. Yet in this, because of the wild, varied rooms, you can't quite tell if the colour palette is showing it's haunted or if it's showing it's not haunted, especially in the disco level. And the music is just constantly just sort of playing something in the background, and it loses that little charm that the others did. So, and also there's a move where you press both the shoulder buttons and you jump up in the air with a burst of wind, and that's also used in certain areas that you wouldn't expect looking at how the environment reacts. So, poopy out of 10, awful, don't play it.
Strong man. Extraordinary biceps. They patched it to fix all issues. Oh, you didn't talk about a game that you played.
What?
Pokemon.
Oh my god. I'll cut this in. Oh my god, how did I forget that? God, what a year. Pokemon. It's...
I like the gym music and Eternamax music.
Sure. I forgot that it came out.
So did I.
It's... They strip away a lot of the nonsense, which is great, but in stripping away a lot of the nonsense, they make it feel quite hollow, is the best way I can put it. The fact that Pokemon are there in the overworld makes catching and progressing through the game so much quicker, because you can see what you want to get, you get it immediately. And you don't have to worry about repels or random encounters. So it essentially boils down to you run to a place, have a battle with someone, level up Pokemon really quickly, then go to the next area, fight a gym. Okay, that's done. Move to the next area, fight a gym. And so I beat this game in like 15 hours. It's all about, you got to beat the gyms, until at the end where it has to throw in some sort of plot about saving the world.
Yeah.
When it shouldn't. The gameplay is so tiresome now. The wild area it was meant to be like the size of 2 Breath of the Wild regions. It's not. It's fucking tiny. It's crap. Yeah, they said that in the interviews. It's meant to be 2 Breath of the Wild segments. It's not. It's tiny, it's useless, and it's bizarrely weird. It's the laziest one they've made. The story doesn't matter. The characters don't matter. It would benefit from being an open world game or completely shaken up.
Yeah,
but they're never going to do it because they made the most money with this game.
Yeah, that's the real shame.
Yeah,
is that the general public, 2019 has proved that the general public are dipshits.
They complained incessantly about the bad thing, but still, like sheep, went and voted to do the wrong thing, and gave it the money.
And even though they know they're getting
relates to Brexit, yes, and
even though they know they're doing the wrong thing, they still gloat about it.
Yes,
they gloat about the success of this happening. even though it's very clearly shit and provides nothing beneficial.
Absolutely.
What am I talking about anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I think Pokemon is actually very close to the political situation in the country. And it makes me uncomfortable. And
maybe that was intentional.
Especially because they had a literal thing in the game called Dexit, which everybody complained about, which isn't great, because I thought it'd be fine, but they didn't add anything new, so it is literally just a bad thing.
They got rid of Altaria.
Yeah. They
got rid of my favourite.
So it's fine. But
no, it's not fine, because they got rid of Altaria.
Mate,
it's not fine.
Mate, I don't care about Pokemon anymore. I will not
fucking Ekans!
Fucking Ekans. I will not buy the next game. I can't believe that I gave them this money. I thought it would be...
I told you not to.
I know you did. I thought it would be, like, laughably bad. But it's just laughably sad.
Yeah. And that's a good note to end the podcast on. Laughably sad.
Yes, I mean, I'll cut that into the normal games, but let's end on a high. Everything's great, except for when it's awful.
Everything's great.
Move to Finland.
I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, maybe not. Oh well.
Brexit.
We'll see you in 2020, everyone.
If we don't fucking die on an NHS waiting list.